Hey, just because we're one host down this week on Arts Upload doesn't mean I can't get a little help, right? Call it coincidence, but here's producer Ashley Holcroft. Hey, Ashley.
Hey there, Randy. Question for you. What does Prohibition Hall, The Brick, and Leawood Baptist Church all have in common?
It's cold, I don't know.
They're all places that Calvin Arsenia has played just this last month.
Calvin, I actually saw him for the first time at the Kaufman Center's 5th anniversary with his harp. He was awesome.
Amazing. And thanks to our partnership with Casey Studio Magazine, I got a chance to hang out with him and learn that he not only plays the harp, but the piano, the uke, the banjo, and so much more. Take a look. The summer of 2016 saw a unique birthday celebration for a unique landmark. And in fitting fashion, the party was just as unorthodox. Arts of all kinds were put on display for huge crowds that filtered in throughout the day. From dance to opera, culinary to an array of music, ranging from familiar Casey faces to someone who has been quietly shaking up the scene with a very different take. At 26, multi-instrumentalist Calvin Arsenia isn't merely looking to sound good. That would be too simple. No, he's looking to change the atmosphere by creating moments of transcendence.
I have a very high expectation for music and live music in particular to influence and transform a space and an audience in the way that they feel in that room in that time. To create these moments where people leave inspired and refreshed. And, you know, there's a little bit of pressure. I love playing with tension in music, but that pressure turns into release. You know, it's like a massage where there's you know, you're kneading the knots through dissonant chords, and then all of a sudden you go into this very serene and you know, major chords, and because of that, it's really hard for me to go into a room and have already determined what songs I want to play or how I'm going to play them, because I really want to meet an audience where they are and invite them into my space, and then we go somewhere together.
Calvin began his relationship with the harp in 2010 after sensing the possibilities via Florence and the Machine, Bjork, and Joanna Newsom.
And I've always been a little bit more ambitious than I ought to be. And so I went on a hunt around Kansas City to look for a harpist that would play with me. What I found was a whole bunch of people who were very classically trained and were beautiful people, but to play, you know, original compositions, to do the rehearsal time, to move the harp, like, it was going to be quite a task to ask of anybody. So I found a harp studio that let me rent a harp, and I couldn't afford to rent the harp and to take lessons, so I just took the harp and I learned from YouTube for about a year, and it was horrible.
Fortunately,
it's really hard to make actually like bad sounds on the harp, and so I would take it, you know, everywhere.
But everywhere doesn't include international travel. In 2012, Calvin joined a mission trip to Edinburgh, Scotland, meaning man and harp would have to part. But that didn't last for long.
And I made it about 1 or 2 weeks before I was like craving a harp, and I was like, I have to play, I have to play. And so I rented another one, and I took it to every kind of jam session or open mic that I could. And I remember sometimes I would be playing at those open mics, and my hands would just tremble and tremor, and my voice, I was just so nervous. And because with the guitar and the piano, like, I'd been confident on those for a long time before I was actually playing, and the expectation, you know, for me to be able to deliver what I wanted to do on an instrument, like, I had that expectation of myself, and I had made that expectation for my audience. And so, yeah, I would just shake. And then, you know, 3 years later, here I am, and it's what I do for a living, and it's kind of cool. If I said the devil made me do it, that'd be the easy way out. But it was God himself that dug me out of the ditch of doubt. The choices I made got me here. A lot of times I'm able to be the first harpist that people have seen, and I feel it's really cool to me. It's also kind of scary because I don't play conventionally. So it's cool because I love to take the harp in places that it's never been before. But sometimes I do get booked and asked to play like banjo or guitar or something, and sometimes I get confused and I show up at a venue like with a harp and nothing else, and they're like, wait, we thought you were gonna play guitar. I'm like, but I brought a harp.
Besides having several albums under his belt and a packed performance schedule, Calvin also makes time for a handful of exceptional students.
Yeah, I'm getting ready to go in to teach one of my students. His name is Reno, and he plays piano. And Reno plays by ear really, really well. Loves to improvise, but I just try to give him some more vocabulary in what he's doing and some different kind of ways to approach melody and chords, and as well as technique. I think my job is to help people fall in love with the process of learning and learning how to be self-sufficient and kind of unveiling these different kinds of concepts and nuances rather than trying to teach them how to memorize a piece. It's more important to me that they're able to express their own ideas and to be able to hear and communicate and understand the ideas that other people make so that they can communicate their own stories. Yeah. And I'm really excited to see where my students go in the years to come.
It's a journey that holds much promise for both student and teacher as Calvin continues to push the bounds, taking the harp where it's never gone before, and taking us along for the ride.
I love getting to do what I love for a living and then expose people to the idea that anything is possible if you're willing to get messy with it, and you might embarrass yourself, but you just gotta pick yourself up and keep going for it. You are the only one who gets to write the story that you want to tell.